Hello, hello, welcome everyone. You've found your way to the Sacred Wisdom Circle. Here, we remember what the world has asked us to forget, that you are not lost, you are not broken, and you are the light. Welcome.
Welcome, everyone.
Yes.
Welcome. Hi, everyone.
So
Good to
excited to
be
have all
here.
of us together.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. In a few weeks. Wow,
So
it
let's
has
update
been. So
where
we
we
need
all
to
at.
check in with Pam first.
Um, India was amazing. If anybody wants to discover more about themselves, India is definitely the place to do that. Um, Very, very magical. Um, don't listen to what you hear on the news. Don't hear what listen to what other people say. Um, it was the most warm, inviting. The people were so sweet and so kind and so loving. I, got an ear infection and had to go to the hospital, and that experience was really amazing in the sense that I was in and out in an hour. I was registered, got to see the doctor, had blood work done, was on a ventilator for a little while just to open the airways. It's a big climate change for sure, and all within an hour and under $50 Canadian
Hmm.
with 4 prescriptions.
Wow.
Was just incredible, and, really, it's made me kinda look at how here, our society, we are so almost, sanitized to the point that we're more susceptible to getting sick elsewhere in the world. It's really, really interesting, but I cannot tell you how kind everybody was. Even the front desk person, when he heard I was going to the hospital, made sure that my room was a little bit closer to the front door in case I needed to leave. I It was just there's so many things about it. I mean, I can't even put it all into one thing, and I probably am going to journal about it just from that perspective of there's so many different lessons that I took from it. Um, One of the things was tipping. Over here, we tip based on whether it's a good job or not. Over there, it's tipping is about gratitude for the service, regardless good or bad or indifferent. You deal with it as it comes, right? So it's really, it's just eye opening. They How they deal with the end of life. I mean, they take their people through the funeral procession, but it's through the streets where they lived. And there's drumming and there's celebration, and they sit with them and they bathe their body with rosemary and a lot of other, different things, sandalwood. And like, it's just really, there's not the grieving in the way here in the Western world that we're taught. They really do celebrate that passing, and they celebrate the life of the person, but celebrate and honor that they're going on to their next chapter. It's just really, really beautiful to actually see that in the streets was really wild. Being on the busy streets and really understanding we are divinely guided. Like, those streets are so busy with trucks and cars and tuk-tuks, which is like a rickshaw, electric rickshaw, but you're sharing the street with cows and goats and dogs and, the thousands of people. I was just blown away that there weren't more dead carcasses on the road, number 1, and there weren't more accidents. And when I went to the hospital, like, in and out in an hour, it wasn't as busy as what, we heard. Now, maybe busier cities, it might be a little bit different because we were on the southern end of India. So we went from the West Coast in Chennai all the way to the East Coast, was at the Arabian Sea. Like, there's just so many things. Incredible sunsets, being, just before their Republic Day celebration, in Pondicherry, and watching all of the military and the police and the high school kids marching and preparing for their day. Like, they do it the whole weekend. So that because they know it draws people as well, and then seeing the Mahatma Gandhi huge statue, and it was right on the ocean. It's just really incredible watching people while I was by the beach, had some time by myself relaxing, and the birds were coming around and people are feeding the birds. Here, we're shooing them away. Go away. Don't be so annoyed. Don't be so annoying. And they're feeding them happily and comfortably and watching chipmunks and watching the mice or rats, not very big ones, but coming out to be fed as well. It was just incredible. I've just absorbed so much. They talk about it being very dirty. You hear that kind of thing. It's ancient. The buildings are so old, right? The history. I was in a couple of palaces. Um, one back from going back to the 18th hundreds, right? It was just really, really, really incredible. And the peace and the joy. Like
It's so beautiful.
it was. It really was. Like there was, people will come up to you and want to take selfies with you. They don't care if they get the selfie. They just want to take a selfie with you. I had one woman in a hotel come up and grab my arm and said, "Oh, daughter," and end up calling other people around and just genuinely curious and loving and kind. There wasn't any kind of I think the only thing that really surprised me, which was actually quite humorous, a couple of things. One of them was going to the temple, which was incredible. Um, yeah, really amazing. We couldn't go fully in because we were not Hindu, but we got to venture in as far as we could, and it was just in but the lineup as we were walking towards it, it was very interesting because everybody's going to pray at 7 o'clock at night, and the pushing and the shoving and the intensity in which people wanted to get in was just like, it was just surprising and amazing. Like, they had to shut the gates on the people. Um, I'm like, "That's intense," right? But that desire to be in there, in that space. And this was from the local people, so and then the monkeys in my room. I was in, Mannar, a beautiful mountain with the tea fields, and it's just stunning. I had a beautiful view out of my room, and of course, there's no screens, and they will caution you, "Don't leave the doors open." Well, I left the doors open. It was the middle of the afternoon. I wasn't anticipating sleeping, but I got scrolling, and I was tired because it was a busy couple of days, and I crashed. And, I didn't crash for very long. I got up because there I mean, I we know when there's things that need to be done where we're going. And, yeah, I sat up, and there was one at the end of my bed. And 3 of them, one was partway in, the other 2 were still on the roof, and it was like, as soon as I sat up, because they didn't wake me, I woke up myself. I didn't even know they were in the room, never sensed them at all, and, the 3 of them that were by the window disappeared. They stayed and watched, but they didn't come back in, where this one, "Nope, I'm staying." And, he's eating a packet of sugar from that was by the coffee machine. So I'm trying to shoo him out. I wasn't scared, that was the crazy part. I think I was exhilarated and thrilled, like, "This is really happening." And, when I turned around and I shooed him, well, he moved quickly sort of towards me, but then he went onto the coffee table, which was metal and glass, and he lunged and literally moved the coffee table, but he lunged in a way to intimidate, stared me straight in the eye. I just looked right back at him. Like, I'm like, "What are you gonna do?" And then the lunge, it was like, "Okay, maybe this is time to now contact the front desk." But as I contacted the front desk, he took off on his own, which was good. And the front desk was very funny because the first question they asked me is, "Did you leave your window open?" I just laughed. Yes, I did. No, I didn't carry them in with me. So yeah, just really, it was magical. The whole thing. 15 people that, well, 14 of them, 13 of them were actually strangers. I only knew one person, really knew one person, which was VJ who organized it. but it was incredible. Then there's a place called Oroville you guys would have loved. It is a human experiment, human an experimentation in humanity. It's a community where, um, life is much simpler. It's not a very big community. They expected it to be bigger, but it was, prophesized by who they called the mother back in the day. And this building that we went into to meditate was incredible. It was a round building. They had a beam of light coming through glass crystal. We couldn't
Mhm.
take pictures, but it was stunning. But it was like something out of Star Trek. No word of a lie. Like the feel, and then their gardens are absolutely stunning. A banyan tree that is so ancient. There's several trunks that have grown out under the ground, and crystals the size of bulls in one garden, like like I've never ever seen before. So really, really cool. The people live there. They are simplified in the sense that they get paid um, an allowance. So like any money you make goes to the community. Everybody gets an allowance. People live with like 7 outfits. Each family member has 7 outfits. If you get something new, you pass something along. Like, it's just really different, and I can see where it's an experiment. It's been around for a long time, um, but something is missing, and I'm not sure. It's very spiritual, but something's missing that it's not growing at the rate that they were hoping for. There's about 3,000 people living there, and half of those are children.
Mm.
Uh, but did yoga there. Yeah, it was really there's so much. I could go on and on and on. But I think the biggest takeaway is the peace and the joy, and don't believe everything you hear.
Mm.
I wanted to see the world through a new lens, and that's exactly what I did. And I got to see and look at some of the um, lingering narratives that I have in my own head about myself and
Mhm.
about the world around me and about my interactions. So it was just really, really incredible. I encourage people, explore. You learn so much traveling.
You do. You do. That really woke me up to how biased, I was, and how almost brainwashed I was to think that, oh, Canada's the best place in the world to live. When I started traveling, it was like, hey, these places are just as beautiful and the people look just as happy. Like, what is everybody talking about that the rest of the world is suffering? And yeah, it
It's a
was,
perception, right? Like,
Yeah.
one of the things that we were challenged is, well, like, what is homelessness? They're still a human being. They're still contributing in some way, shape, or form to society, even though it's not in the way that in the Western world we're constructed to believe, right? And how people do actually care for one another. There's no judgment.
Mhm.
And I mean, and to be met with 15 people or 14 people that I didn't even know and have love and support, completely unconditional love and support from different states, and it was just it made me wake up to a few things. So I I'm standing in my power a little bit differently. Have challenges with, as I've said before, with family dynamics, and I'm not subjecting myself to it anymore.
mm,
I don't have to,
yeah,
Mhm.
because this showed me,
yeah,
you know what? Yeah, I deserve better.
Yeah.
No, and there's no bitterness, there's no hatred, there's no nothing. It's just okay. It is what it is. And you know what? But I don't have to subject myself to it. So I can pick and choose when I'm in a space that I'm able to deal with it.
100%.
So it was
So
just
absolutely.
having that in itself was just, oh yeah, we went on boat cruises, like seeing people washing on the side of the river, and it's just it was magical and beautiful. Nobody was bitchy and miserable at all. They would be waving, saying hello. You're driving by and people are waving and saying hello. They have horns. We're talking 14 different horn sounds on the bus, and this is normal for the vehicles. They're honking sometimes just to greet people.
Hmm.
It's like it's just really different than here, really different. And we're not the be all and end all.
No.
I certainly appreciate where we are, but we're not the be all and end all. And to go out and experience other, which I've always been about. That's why in the Dominican, I didn't go to someplace that was like a resort. I wanted to be in a community. And that's exactly where I am. I want to experience the people, the locals. So, anyways, that's me. Enough about me, guys. What's going on with you? I could go on forever.
I think one of the things that I wanted to echo that you brought up is that, I mean, you were talking about family. One of the things that's happened for me in the last 2 weeks has just been this incredible shift around just observing. So I've been involved with a colleague around business that he is working with one of his clients, corporate clients. And he'd been giving me some feedback. I've been doing a lot of the back end work and kind of behind the scenes and creating slides and all that kind of stuff. And he was feeding back to me what had been happening with the group. And I can see the freight train. I can see it coming to smack them around the ear because there's certain things that they haven't taken into account. It's still very masculine, things like so the metaphor, they've got mixed metaphors all over the place. They've got the circus, they've got the kingdom, they have battles and battlegrounds, and they then are talking about Formula One as part of the naming of their team. So they've got all these different mixed metaphors, and it just from a messaging and a connection point of view for people within the organization, it's an absolute I guess it's messy. So I gave him the feedback and he goes, no, we're sticking with battlegrounds. And all of a sudden I just felt this almost like this invisible barrier going,
Yep.
you can do that. That's your learning. I've given you the message. What you do with it is entirely up to you. And whatever the result of that is going to be that team and your learning. And just that relief and freedom in stepping back and being, oh, okay, that's their lesson. That's their walk. That's what they need to be learning. Um, and that brings a huge amount of freedom for me to just be able to be in that space of being okay with me and then the guardrails that I can just observe with what's going on with everybody else as opposed to kind of getting involved and all it is give them the feedback because he asked for it and then let them get on with it. So that was tying into what you were saying, Pam, around choosing. We get to choose
Yeah.
who we engage with and the level at which we engage as well. And if it's going to take me out of my own sense of self and my own sense of agency, it's not happening anymore. Done enough
And
of that.
full and unconditional acceptance.
Yeah,
Like that
absolutely.
saying hits home more than ever is it is what it is. When you
Yep,
do that, you're not taking anything on. There's a complete peaceful acceptance. And I
absolutely.
witness that like every day, right? Now it's that mindfulness and bringing that into everything that I'm doing.
Exactly.
And not having to convince somebody about my point of view anymore. That I can
Mhm.
just
Yep.
offer a point of view, and that there's no need to convince anybody. There's no need to feel like I'm right or wrong, or somebody else is right or wrong. It just that's what it is. And yeah, we've all got our lessons to learn. And that
Yeah.
brings a lot of freedom, brings a lot of freedom in terms of family relationships as well. It's just stepping back.
Letting go
And
of the
also
ego.
not even offering an opinion if one isn't asked for is also, stepping back and biting one's tongue and just letting things unfold the way they need to for those people's lessons. And my lesson sometimes is just to keep my mouth shut.
Oh yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Angela, what
So
you're
that
speaking to is like in like other terms is let them, like the let them theory with Mel Robbins, right? And
yeah,
it's let them do what they need to do and let them have their journey, but let me choose what I want to align with, what feels good. And that's like the art of detachment, right? It's like letting go of the ego of I need to be right. I need to be in control. I need to contribute. I need to be part. No, that's there. Like you said, noticing the difference between where you end and where they begin and let them do what they need to do in their lesson and allow you to still be in your sovereignty and still be in your peace by detaching from their outcome.
Mhm.
And the interesting thing for me was that I actually felt it in my body. I
Mhm.
had this kind of awareness, but I also felt it somatically, that it
Yeah.
wasn't just a mental construct that I'd kind of, had in my head. I could actually feel the energetic shift by just stepping back. And that was what was, I think so many times we feel things in our body first before we even feel them in our hearts and in our heads.
Mhm.
And that was very tangible for me. And as I said, almost like there was this invisible pane of glass. And I wasn't even face to face with him. I was talking on the phone, but I could almost feel this energetic kind of
Mhm.
filter stepping in between me and just this, oh, okay, that's his lesson. That was
Yeah,
so
and
cool.
observing it and
A
allowing it to be. Yeah.
absolutely, and that's one of
Mm,
the things with this week away or 14 days away with the, Shati Yatra. It was I could feel in my body that I was very much on guard. Like, there was almost a freezing point, everything tightening up. And what it made me realize is part of that is old trauma, but I'm keeping it very much alive by always stepping into something that isn't good for me,
mm,
Mm.
right? And recognizing that.
yep.
But it was the first time that I actually honored and felt like, and then there's that whole fear of missing out. That was another interesting one, right? Because I wasn't, because of that, the sickness and because of the body responding in the way that it was, I wasn't able to participate in absolutely everything. And I felt bad about that, and I was beating myself up about that. And I realized that I've been so accustomed to just pushing through,
Mm.
right?
Deep
Not
breathing.
paying attention to what the body is telling me. And it's like, you know what? Yeah, I'm the one that's making myself tired now. I need to slow the hell down, not worry about doing everything, right? Being involved in everything. So people who are out there listening and watching, really be paying attention to your ailments or how your body is responding to things because it is telling you something. I think for so long I was just in that space. I didn't recognize it as. I just recognized it there's it's me, it's normal. No, it's me creating it by
Yeah.
doing things that are going against myself.
Old
Yeah, and if
patterns.
we're not if we're not aware of it, it becomes so habituated that that's the pattern that we follow because it's so ingrained. And it's
Yes.
only with awareness that we start to become conscious of these loops that we keep ourselves stuck in through our own choices. So yeah, it's been quite an interesting few weeks.
And just
Janice,
to
what
say,
about
I've done a
you?
lot of work,
Yeah.
Yeah,
right? And it's a work in progress still.
yeah.
Always.
I'm loving this conversation because that was the last week. I love that you're talking about bringing it into the body. That's huge, right? Right? Like for me and for what I'm doing right now in Soulfully Aligned Women, it's like we've been in our souls. We know how to align into our heart and our soul. We know we've got mind work to work on, patterns and beliefs, but it's like now we're bringing the body into the whole equation because if you are not in that full coherence, mind, body, and spirit, then you are not going to manifest what you are trying to create in your life. And if your body is feeling that tension or feeling stuck, and for me, my message has been it's like, well, I discovered that my body was stuck in old frequencies from my past, my childhood, my whole life, and I hadn't taken the time to bring it along. I was, like, soulfully aligned, I was doing all the things, I was in my creative flow, I was in, working on the mindsets, the intuition's growing, but the body was still stuck in the past. And
Yeah.
so that, like, I think we're all going through this right now of this awareness of coherence and nervous system regulation and releasing those fears out of our body. And last weekend, when I missed our call because I too crashed. I thought I was going to be okay. I had gotten up sick on, I don't think it was Wednesday or Thursday. And I thought, okay, I can do this. Like, we're going to do this. And then it was like, wham, no. Um, and then by Saturday night, I was feeling really good. I'm like, oh my gosh, this cold is gone. Like, it's going away as fast as it's coming. But what happened was Sunday morning, the full moon, I got up thinking, okay, full moon energy, let's go. This is a big moon. Let's go. Let's really, just create our intentions and figure out what I'm leaving behind. And I got up and I was exhausted.
Mhm.
And I got up and I started to get my day going and ended up back on the couch, sleeping for 2 hours. And then I laid there thinking, this is interesting because I'm pretty sure the last time we had a big energy portal day, I was exhausted that day too. So that's when I started to pay attention to my body. It's like, okay, I get that we have an immune system that gets low when we catch things, but what else is going on? What's
Mhm.
my body telling me? It's not telling me through the sickness, it's telling me through my intuition, through other ways, and, so I sat there and I thought, yeah, there was still this deep fear of going for it all and burning out. And so just coming back into talking to my body, really listening, really, sending it love, and also then the mind shift coming in to say, I get to move forward in my own rhythm. I get to move forward and create these dreams in the way that I will not abandon my body. I will not, push myself beyond what feels good. And so normally I would have just pushed through and gone, "Oh, I'm just sick and
Mhm.
I'll just keep plugging along, but I'll be better." But this time I sat back and went, "Okay, wait a minute. There's something more here. There's something deeper." And going into that deeper level, that deeper conversation is something that we don't always know how to do. That's
Sure.
huge.
It's
Mhm.
been sometimes we
Yeah,
don't slow down long enough to do it.
yeah.
Right?
It's
Yeah.
been so interesting, the work cycle that's also emerged for me over the last couple of weeks, and that is these are the things that I need to do during the day, but when I've finished one piece of work, I actually take a rest.
Yep.
Mm.
And whether it's nap, whether I'm cooking a meal, it doesn't matter. Whether I'm sitting outside, doesn't matter. But I take a specific before I pick up the next piece of work. And that's been the pattern throughout the day. So talking back to what you're saying, Janice, is that giving that space in between for our body to recalibrate with the work that we've been doing before we start picking up the next thing, as opposed to the years and years we've spent running around on the hamster wheel, just doing one thing after another with checklists this long that we have to get through in one day.
Yeah.
It's so counterproductive. And that's why so many of us burn out because
Yeah.
we're not being in that balance between the being and the doing. And that's been quite profound for me. And getting through so much more as a result of taking the rest times. It's been
Yeah.
quite, and then again, listening to our bodies.
Mhm.
And that's very interesting, Angela, because while I was away on this trip, one of the things that our facilitator and guide suggested at mealtime is do not pick up your fork when you have a mouthful and when you're chewing until you're finished. It's slowing it down. And again, it's similar to what you're saying about work. We don't give the space and the time in between to honor, first of all, the body, but honor what it is we're experiencing,
Mm. Yeah.
right? Like when you slow it down and actually taste and appreciate what you're tasting, this sounds crazy and cliche, but it almost tastes better.
Oh, well, yeah, you're
But we are
savoring it.
so yeah, we're savoring it, exactly, and that element of being able to slow ourselves down so that, again, we're not rushing through even a meal,
Well,
and if
and
you
like you
can
say
apply it
that,
with a
it's
meal sorry.
no, 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 I apologize, I interrupted you. It was just saying the fact that, when we go through a meal, most of the time we've been again, culturally, we rush because it's like, well, there's more to do, and we're not even present for the meal. So yes, of course, it's gonna taste better when you slow down and you take your time and enjoy the experience. That's literally the same experience I've been having this last week. What we're creating with Spirituality Amplified, my business, there's been a lot of stuff going on lately that's been, I don't think I've been this busy in forever. But what came through, like, is that even in the evenings, my brain does not stop. I've been working all evenings, not from a force and a push. It's just because, like, I'm excited for the next unfolding and, oh, I want to do this and, oh, I want to do this. And I'm allowing that, in my opinion, the inner fire, the passion that's inside, that's building for this, is allowing it. But one of the things that was funny, for the last like week, even when I sleep, my brain hasn't slowed down. It feels like I wake up, I'm rested, but not like I don't feel like I deeply slept. And so it's like, one of the things when I woke up and it was like, oh, there was something in the middle of the night that I feel like I should have remembered. And it was like, oh, it was literally the thought that came back from that was like, enjoy, enjoy this process. And I feel like that's what I've been doing. Even though I'm busy, I'm literally taking the time in the moments to be present in them, to be like, oh, this is the step that we're in now. And oh, this is what's going on right now. And really enjoying the process versus rushing through to the next thing on the task list. Like, I've got a list here, but it's like, what do I get done today? We shall see. And it's literally enjoying the process and being present on calls and being present with people and being present in the building of what we're creating, as opposed to the before of me, which was like literally task list, task oriented. Let's get this thing done. Let's move forward. So it's a like literally this week has been a little tiring, but it's literally because of that. My brain won't shut off, but I'm taking the time in between, which
Mhm.
is there's definitely rest time in the middle of that too, but it's like I'm enjoying each of those moments, even the segments of work. I'm enjoying the segments more than just getting things done. Like, instead of
Okay.
just eating to eat, I'm enjoying the mouthful and I'm having fun in the creation and finding a new way and letting the things kind of come through and enjoying that process. Anyway, that's been my
Yeah.
week this week.
I feel like that's going to be like this is going to be a topic we come back to over and over and over this year as we move into the year of the horse and people
Mhm.
moving more quickly and the world moving so fast around us. There's going to be a lot of focus on breathe, be present, slow down, listen to your body, just be in the moment because it is moving fast and we'll get caught up in that at times. And that is exciting. Like you said, Elena, it's so exciting when you feel that energy rise up and you start to move with it. It's so exhilarating.
Yeah, it's definitely horse energy. But it's
Um,
like
such an in
I
sorry,
sorry, I
carry
just
on.
wanted to say, I think about it like you said, like the horse, like riding one with horse, like we're co-creating in this year. Literally co-creating with that momentum if we choose. And it's like literally sitting on the like I think about, I used to ride horses, so I think about like galloping with the horse and being in that moment and just being with the energy of it. So sorry, that's what I wanted to share.
Yes.
I had such an interesting experience at the beginning of the week. I had reworked one of the primary programs. It's elevated itself. It wrote itself to a very different energy and vibration. And I had a group of 5 women on Monday night, which we did the first half of the program. What happened in 2 hours? My jaw was literally on the floor. I had a woman who had been experiencing her call happened 15 years ago and she had no idea how she was going to get there. And within 2 hours, she had cracked it wide open.
Mhm.
And we were focusing on the workshop is around the alchemy of purpose, and it's not what is my why. This is the deep soul purpose, and the way they got there so quickly through this process and using sacred geometry was just incredible. And when we talk about how energy is moving quickly, it is and it isn't. There's a
Yeah.
paradox in this, in the sense that whilst things are moving quickly, they also seem to be so in flow and the peace of being in
Yeah,
flow and grace, as opposed to this helter-skelter madness of just being, things
exactly.
speeding up. There's almost this it's almost like being in the eye of the hurricane, but moving with the hurricane at the same time. And in that space of grace, it was just astonishing at what they allowed to transpire for themselves, as opposed to, anybody kind of trying to mandate for them what they should be doing and what they should be experiencing. And I have to blow my nose, so I'm gonna put myself on mute.
Well, and that's what I mean, like, with the horse, like, I feel like that's the same thing, is, like, you're one with the horse in the gallop as opposed to being, like, somebody who's like, "I'm falling off," and blah, 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 and letting the chaos kinda happen, and just stuck with the ride versus being there and present along with the ride and going along with that flow of energy, and it's such a different, like you said, it's a different energy versus what I know, like I said, like, that's for me, that's the horse energy that we're walking into. And like you said, Janice, there's definitely going to need to be times as we continue forward to take time, even though it feels like you're in the flow. Like this weekend, I have nothing on my calendar for a change for this weekend. And I'm like, I am just going to enjoy this weekend. I'm going to plug in when I need to plug in, but I'm going to take my time through it. And again, still be present and enjoy the process.
Yes.
I love what
Well,
you said
and
about being
also
at one with sorry,
Mm,
just want to quickly love what you said about being at one with the horse. And I think that this is what we're describing is at 1 mint.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
sorry, Janice. No,
No,
that's okay.
good.
It's all good. What I was gonna say is, a and we get these this weekend for you, Helena, and probably something's gonna come up. Because I've been finding that be flexible in your
Oh, yeah.
schedule, right? Like that has really been like my whole week. I have this huge painting to finish within 2 weeks. And yet my whole week that I thought all these blocks of painting time were going to be mine, life came in. Life
Oh,
keeps
yeah.
coming in and moving in and going, oh, you thought you were going to be like all on top of everything? No, you're not.
Universe has a sense of humor.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, totally. One thing I wanna go back to when you were first talking, Pamela and Angela, too, about the people around us and, getting to choose when putting your boundaries up. But what I have found over the last few days is I've become more vocal about zero tolerance of gossip and complaining. And it is just to the point where, like, I normally do not speak up a lot. I let people go their direction. But right now I'm feeling like I am just stepping up and going, I don't have time for this. Like, okay, so what are you doing for yourself? Like, like it's zero gossip, zero tolerance for the complaining. Give people grace. Like, give people grace around you, whether it's, it was just an experience I had in a restaurant and some people complaining about the waitress not being friendly enough. And I'm just like, okay, I have zero tolerance for that. Like, talk to her then. Like, put a smile on her face. Just just give her grace. You don't know what's going on in her life. Everybody is
Absolutely.
carrying so much right now. And and so it's really hard to sometimes for me not to blurt things out. Learning how to speak tactfully, to rather than being judgmental towards the people around me too, right? There's that.
Mhm. Yes.
There's that too, me judging them for judging other people, like, that's a big vicious circle, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
We
that's
just
why I'm so valuing the space of just observing and
Mhm.
just sitting there. And this whole drama can go around, go on around me. I don't have to get involved in it. And the zero tolerance is about me. It's actually not about them. It's
Yeah.
about what I'm prepared to engage in
Exactly.
versus what's going on, what's whether I have zero tolerance for somebody else's behavior. It's more about what do I have zero tolerance for what I allow myself to involve in and allow myself to enter into my space. And
Right.
that's for me become it's been, we always see the mirror. The mirror always turns in and what is it that we're supposed to be taking away from this?
Yes.
And
I
and
agree with you,
and
Janice. There's no time for this getting involved in all of this drama that's going on around us. We
Mhm.
have work to do. Sorry, Pamela.
no, that's okay. Yes. And being vocal sometimes is about planting seeds of a new way of being,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So sometimes we are meant to speak and sometimes we might rub somebody the wrong way. That's okay. Accept it, with grace and with love and move on. They take what they take, then that's on them. But the being vocal, I think it's not about opinions. It's
Mm.
about just being vocal about being kind, being vocal about you don't know what's going on in someone else. Like people don't think that way, but
Mm.
it's
Yeah.
absolute truth. We're not walking in their shoes. We have no idea what has happened in that person's life
Mm.
before they even came into work. And that whole old school, you leave it in a box and put it on the shelf. Honey, that doesn't work. You got to carry the shelf and the box with you. Like that's not realistic,
No.
right? So it's being in the humanness, and appreciating that we are all walking our own journey. The judgment doesn't serve anybody, but being vocal about kindness and about, you know, allowing people some grace, I think is really valuable. And I think there's more and more people actually doing that now,
Yeah.
right? But that's
And
how
judge
seeds are being planted.
and judgment tells me more about myself than it actually does about somebody else. It tells me where
Of
my
course.
blocks still are, and where I'm not in my own sense of humanity. And I was just want to circle back to you were talking about being in other cultures. We have to kind of get you guys out here because you would love this country. You
Oh, I think we
you
would.
would absolutely love this country.
Yeah.
You have to come.
I'm
Here.
in.
Yeah.
I
Africa
am
has
in.
called to me since I was a small child. I have, yeah, I got to go once for one day.
One day? How do you go for one day? How does it even
Yeah.
work?
I know. Well, we were in Spain and we
Mm.
crossed
Oh,
over the
Gibraltar.
from Gibraltar over, yeah, and spent a day in Morocco, but it was pouring rain and it was a very controlled tour and so it was not the experience I was looking for. But yeah, I feel like Africa is in my bones. Mm.
Mm.
The bottom side of the continent. You'll love it. Okay, bottom
And,
side.
and,
Yeah, and
and
also, the African people, talking about how people are in India, the African people are just so warm and so welcoming.
Yep.
Um, I mean, one of my favorite places to be aside from South Africa is Kenya. Kenya is beautiful. The people there are just amazing, absolutely amazing. And yeah, it does, it opens out, it does this instead of being narrow in terms of the focus that we have around the world. And I think Pam, you also mentioned it kind of in I think maybe last week, but also this week in the sense that we get to see the humanity in all of us when we're
Mhm.
traveling.
oh
That it's
yeah,
not just,
like we're
I
more
mean, that
alike
is just
than we are not alike, I tell you.
absolutely. And that sense of unity and connection that we have as human beings is just incredible. So yeah,
And the
it
other
would
thing
be
is
wonderful.
we're relatively new. Our country is relatively new.
Yeah.
When you're looking at artifacts that are over 2,000 years old, right?
Yeah.
It's an element of you're walking on sacred ancient grounds when you're going over to anywhere in Europe, in Israel, in any one of those countries over there. And it's like, don't underestimate the power of the energy of that. And it's like, it's really incredible because we are like I was just blown away by all of that. And to think like the museums that they have that has artifacts and they leave them out. They don't have them in glass. They leave them out and they're still intact. It's just incredible.
We have to take you to, if you get here, we have to take you to a place called Marapeng. It means home of our origins, where the first hominids were discovered. And the
Mhm.
mountains that they were discovered in. I mean, there's a cave there, a crystal cave there,
Oh
which used to be,
my.
I don't know if it was underwater. I don't know if it still is underwater, whether they've managed to pump it out. But when you just walk around those mountains and you get the sense of
these hominids that and the kind of transition from the hominids into humankind, you get that sense of absolute timelessness. And then, of course, at nighttime, you look up at the sky and all you see is this blanket of stars.
Ugh,
Well,
yes. Okay, it's on the bucket list. We're gonna
I'm just whetting your appetite just a little bit more.
Yeah.
Well, you're talking about it. I used well, when I worked with the Canadian Red Cross, we had an exchange, a crew of exchange students, like 20 of them, that came here from Africa, and I can't specifically tell you unless I look at the map to figure out exactly what area it was. But what an incredible group of kids. Like the youth were just simply amazing. And they had their first experience of snow up here. And they're like, we went to go get like do a camping experience. Like we called it a cold camp out for them. And they were like, oh, we'll be fine. And they were like, oh my gosh, we ended up having to go buy them jackets and socks and mittens and hats. And they're like, oh, they were told kind of what the idea was going to be about. And they chickened out about 10 o'clock at night. And they're like, we're going inside and sleeping on the floor. They're done. But just what an experience of, like you said, that immersion of different, just an environment. And like you said, just the warm hearted, kindest, sweetest youth. They were just simply incredible.
Mm.
So, yeah.
And such a difference in like in India, like the population is, we've got this 3 foot, circle around us that we're like, that's my space. And yet they never had, like, they've just been immersed like a soup in with people,
You are you
you
are
know?
absolutely right. Like they don't have any sense of personal space whatsoever. And what I found is the politeness over there, the excuse me's and of all ages, right? That they're it just flows in its rhythmic and melodic, and it's really, really magical. I can't describe it any other way. It's like
Mm,
to experience that because you're right. It is one third of the size. No, we are one third. No, they are one third of the size of Canada and yet
mhm,
have 1.45 billion people,
yeah.
right? So the cities are extremely busy. The countrysides are not near as busy, but they're still busy. But the cities, and it's like, you're right, it's like soup. It really is. There's no conflict. There's no, if somebody butts in, somebody butts in. There's no, not an issue where here, oh my God, people would be losing their crap. The road rage, there isn't road rage. They
Mm.
all work together and it
Ugh,
ebbs and it flows and it is divinely guided,
don't we
just
have
like we
so
are.
much to learn from that?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm,
Yeah. And like you said, we're babies here. We're
we are.
babies compared to the land and the people and the civilizations and the culture, like, and they value so much more in the culture of around foods and arts and, that is
Oh, yeah.
valued so much more than possessions that we have here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
Um,
I think this brings us to a close.
oh, so it does.
It's already quickly passed.
That went fast.
So I will just thank everyone for joining us here as the circle closes for now, because we could talk forever. But we will be back next week. The light remains, not just here, but within you. Next, or let these teachings echo through your being like a lighthouse calls over the sea, steady, unwavering, and sovereign. Share what touched your soul. We would love to hear your thoughts, your inspiration, what you've received from this, but also your connection to the earth, what you see, where you are in the world. Share with us. We'd love to hear. Subscribe if you feel the call, and always remember, you are the light, you are the way, and the circle will always be here when you're ready to return.
Bye,
Thank you very much.
everyone.
Bye.
Namaste. See you